Welcome to the Lost Minds podcast, where today we talk about
Flat Earth
conspiracy. Well, the audio got screwed up halfway through it, so we had to redo it. But yeah, we ended up talking about on the second try. So actually, there's two podcasts. All the good stuff, of course, was in both of them, so you could listen. But then we talked about
conspiracies, aliens, technology, Atlantis, fucking drugs,
El Dorado,
the gold train,
Nazis, a lot of
Nazis,
about different stuff, a lot of interesting mysteries and question marks,
and a few good brand new conspiracies that are underway.
They're up in the air. We've sent them to the CIA, and hopefully they will start looking into them.
Not bad. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Listen.
Right, stop.
All right, welcome. Why are you laughing?
That one's going to start with, Brian, stop. Well, you asked for it.
That's how the podcast starts, before it stops before it even starts.
Yep.
Look, he's finally done laughing. Now,
Dude,
we're
that's
going to do
seriously,
this.
I will not.
For my intro, I want a Jurassic Park theme song. Seriously, that's it.
Your mind went off?
Yeah, I got lost. Lost my mind.
Your guys' faces are so funny.
Be serious. Our faces. Dude, we can't do anything
It's too
about
bright in
that.
here, dude.
Crack rock margaritas.
How would you end an intro?
You just stop.
So it's like
a beanie, the costume of an inmate.
That'd be so fucking funny. She's like, "What the hell did you do?" She's in prison. She better look the part.
That's where they learn most of their tricks, dude.
Don't want none of the other babies manhandling her. Put some tattoos on her.
Have you seen that little baby robot, app that feeds your baby while it sits in a little cage?
What?
Yeah, it sits in the cage and you can hit the app, feed the baby, and a little arm will come over to the baby to feed it. And it gives it the bottle or whatever so you can not be there.
Fuck.
They showed it as doing a little test run. It
have
the
to
arm
get me one,
extends. It's hits the baby in the face.
How is that even legal?
Dude, they're working on it.
Nice. It's in production for the next 6 years.
Robots will raise our babies. Dude, while we party, freaking, turn down for, what?
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? No way, dude.
Wait, do you really have to go to a barbecue?
Yeah.
At what time?
It was supposed to be at 4 o'clock.
Well, it's only
What
3
do you
o'clock
mean?
in
Are
daylight
you
savings times.
cooking or anything?
No, I'm just supposed to be there.
What time's the food on the table?
4 o'clock.
What time have they been cooking?
3:30.
What are they making?
I know there's
It's
some
not
kind
enough
of
time to
shrimp.
make it. It's not enough
There's
time.
some pork.
man.
There's some
You got
steak.
time.
It's not that one shit. What is it called?
What time are you planning on leaving here?
Chivape?
Yeah.
I think there might be some chivape there, but I don't know. I was supposed to leave at 4
Leave here at
Yeah.
4 and then get there at 4:30?
because I didn't think it would take us this long and all our files get corrupt. But
It's only 4:30.
What do you mean? It's only, I guess, we got here, 2:30, huh?
I got here 2:50, but I was planning on maybe being here till maybe an hour and a half.
3:50, 4:30. So right now?
Yeah. But I'll keep going. I can eat cold food later by myself. Who cares about family?
Well, who's all going to be there?
It's all right, you guys. I'll put you guys ahead.
I hope your family hears this.
If they do, dude, they'll know I'm a great friend.
What is it for?
What? We can't just have spontaneous feasts of deliciousness?
Well, if it's so important that you have to be there, if it's a spontaneous
It's my
feast.
family, dude.
Does happen all the time,
My
dude.
fucking family, dude. You
It's
gotta
pretty
be there.
spontaneous, dude.
It's blood.
Technically not, dude. Because every 7 years, about your cells all regenerate, so you're not even closer related to the self you 7 years ago than you
true.
are to your family.
Let me ask you this question.
Even people in this
If
room.
I had a boat and every year I took off a few planks and I put new ones in, but I saved the old ones and I put them all back together on the other side, which ship would be the original ship?
The one that's
the ship
original.
with the true heart, with the soul, dude.
But now I have
The
two
soul
ships,
doesn't leave,
bitch.
dude.
My fucking
But you know which one's the real
army
ship,
is getting
dude.
ready.
You know. When you feel it, you'll feel the soul of that ship.
It's
You'll know.
it's the soul of one ship, but the body of another.
If you don't know, you weren't connected with that ship. You weren't on the ship's level.
You don't know what I'm talking about,
You were
do you?
not on the sea level.
You're not a sailor.
You're not a seaman.
In my past life, I was a sailor. I didn't make it very far. The first storm took me under.
Dude,
It was actually just a small wave. I shouldn't have been on the edge.
Yeah, I watched the show just barely randomly. It was an old ass one. It was like Poseidon or whatever.
Sounds gay.
Yeah, it was like a cruise ship that was like Titanic, and then it gets fucking tipped over by a wave, random wave. Just comes through in the middle of the night. It's like, mrrr. Hits the side of it and like tips it over because it hit on the broadside. And then everyone's like stuck inside, and then they're like, yeah, try to escape the ship. Is it like, yeah, kills
Isn't
them
it
all.
evil?
I don't know. It's something, I don't know. It's weird, but like, I was just thinking about that, the random wave thing, you know? Going, you're just like, you're sitting on the ship, and this is like, they call it a flash wave. That's what it is.
Well, the fucking captain wasn't fucking paying attention.
Yeah, or like,
Like, just
turn the
turn.
ship. And he wasn't even like, well, I don't even know how the Titanic one was. That's some bullshit though too. If that's your line of travel, you're like searching, looking. We gotta watch for stuff. All right. Oh shit. Hey. Oh. Hey, guys. There's shit down. It's like, fuck.
He fell asleep at his post.
Did he?
Yeah.
Don't speak for him.
On the Titanic? He fell asleep.
I thought they just
They just
forgot
said
to bring
that
their
shit, dude.
binoculars.
He probably was like yelling and everything, but everyone died anyways.
Or it was all a giant conspiracy. How's that?
Yeah, Titanic never happened.
The Titanic never happened.
It's true.
But
That's
on-
what you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was it? Yeah,
it was freaking mock-ups, dude, of space. Like, for instance, like look at the movie
Oh, yeah,
Star
Flat
Wars.
Earthers.
Yeah. Well, I guess that wasn't on there.
Not
was
even
it?
that. Not even flat Earth, but even with like the moon landing and stuff. With
Yeah.
Conspiracies.
even space travel itself.
Conspiracies. But let's just throw this
Space
out
travel's
there.
dangerous.
Let's just throw this out there. Like, I'm not a flat earther.
You are.
I'm not.
You are 100%. The sticker, the bumper sticker
The
on your
bumper
truck says
sticker.
otherwise.
Okay, look, that's just a cool looking bumper sticker. Okay, it's just got a flat planet with like a dome on it, so we can't escape because our overlords. But anyways, I'm not a flat earther, but there's a lot of weird things going on this planet. Like, okay, so here's 3 of the things that I think are weird. 1, the Antarctic Treaty, where nobody's allowed to go down there. 2, the actual pictures that were taken by the astronauts going to the moon are not real pictures of the Earth. They're actually reverse images, kind of like where Einstein was doing his figuring out the rainbow or whatever, where he like poked a pinhole into the glass or into his
Newton or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like the
Isaac
prism
Newton.
thing.
yeah, and like the light was coming through and it projects a picture of the outside world on the wall.
Yeah.
So basically, the same thing was done there, but with the light coming from the Earth in their airplane. And the reason it was around was because the window that the light was coming through was a round window, so it looked like a round Earth. And then number 3 is you can go online and track airplanes flying from any
So
destination.
wait a second. You're telling me that only the image of the Earth, that circle,
The only reason it's round is because of the window that was on the airplane that
so
they were
there's
taking a
more
picture
Earth
of it.
around the Earth.
There could have been, yes.
So it could have been a square.
It could be.
Why
So-
is the moon round?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
Debunked. Put that in the debunked pile.
But anyway, number 3 is you can get online and you could search airplanes, like flight paths. And flights from Brazil, as they start flying over the ocean, they disappear. And then a couple hours later, they'll reappear at their destination. But you should be able to, so like, let's say you're following a flight from LA to Amsterdam, you can follow the flight all the way across the entire path, and it doesn't disappear at all. So it'll fly all the way across. But flights flying from Brazil to, like, let's say Madagascar or something, they'll fly out, and as soon as they get past the Brazilian, like, borderline in the water, the airplane disappears off the radars. And then 16 or 17 hours later, it'll reappear back on
What are you trying to
tracking.
say? Where it's a glitch in the matrix?
It's something, but airplanes do not cross over that area of ocean. They disappear over it. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's because we don't have tracking systems there. But how do you not have a tracking system if it's a satellite in space looking at the Earth?
Dude, easy, dude.
All I'm saying is there's some weird shit going on. And the fact that we can't travel south to the Antarctica is a little weird. That militaries will stop you. Russians will stop you. U.S. will stop you.
Try to get online
country will
tonight
stop
and
you.
try to get a ticket to Antarctica.
You can't.
You can't. It's military only. Yeah.
Just do it.
Even if you had your own boat and you tried going down there, they'll stop you.
Oh well. What about this one, dude?
Yeah.
So if you take a plane and you fly north and then you start flying south, you'll eventually hit something and then you'll go north, maybe. Or is it the same setup as when you go east to west? Because if you start flying west on the Earth, technically, you always go west. You never hit, there's no east pole or west pole. So if you start flying east, you'll always be going east. If you start flying west, you'll always be going west.
Yes.
But normally we have north and south pole, so like technically you can go to north and south.
So like let's say we started at the furthest point on the south where the military wall is, and we flew north, and we kept flying north, and then we'd eventually come back down, and we'd hit the military wall again.
South.
Yeah.
Because, dude, the South
And you
Pole
can't
where the
fly back-
freaking
you can't fly around there.
freaking south, where the what is he? The Heatmeister lives, dude.
Now
He's
imagine
the Heatmeister.
the best. This is the best way I think they should prove it is take 2 ships, go down south as far as you can until you hit the military wall, and then 1 ship go east, 1 ship go west, and measure the distance till the 2 ships meet again. And if the Earth is the actual size that we are told, 2 ships should meet on the opposite side, the exact same point. But if it's not, let's say it's like a flat Earth kind of thing, then the 2 ships instead of taking like a month to get around, so instead of taking like a month to get around, they'll take like 4 months to get all the way around the giant circle.
You could probably do that too without like explaining yourself. What are you doing? Just driving? just floating?
Taking a cruise.
The military is like,
Floating in a big metal thing on some water. Big heavy piece of metal on some water. Just floating. It's like,
have you ever watched a boat displace water?
no.
Dude, it is the coolest looking thing. Like, there's this guy, he's recording it, and he's standing on land, and there's a little river that runs alongside the beach. And the river's running, like, maybe 3 inches deep. It is, like, pathetic. And then there's a giant ocean liner out there coming in close, and it gets close to the shoreline. And the little, like, 4-inch deep river becomes, like, a 6-foot, like, titan of a river just roaring through there. And it's because the boat is displacing that many metric tons of water that water has to get pushed to the sides, and it gets pushed into like land.
Good. Get that water out of here.
But
I want nothing to do with that water. Just kidding. It's weird though to think about the way it pushes, because it's funny too though thinking about like even though it disperses it like at the opposite, like that same amount of water if it were to hit like something hard. Like you watch like in the tsunamis, it like fucking pushes a boat like that against like some like the bridges. It's like butter, just fucking crumbles it.
yeah,
The water just goes flowing by.
dude, water is a force of nature to be reckoned with. But shit, dude, I was gonna say something else, but my brain like went completely numb.
About your freaking your flat Earth or your
Yeah, not the flat Earth. I'm not saying the Earth is flat. I'm just saying there's something weird going on.
You just said it was your flat Earth.
No,
You said you really had to like start off by saying I'm not a flat earther.
yeah. I'm just saying, like, we got to think about
We'll
this
just
for a
edit that
minute.
out.
There's
What
a
is weird
Just
though?
cut
I
it
mean,
out so it says, I am flat earther. I believe in it strongly.
That's why you hear not a lot of people will be like, I want to go to all 7 continents, because I feel like that'd be something really big. Everyone would be like, I want to go to all the continents, but like all the people that want to go to all the continents are like, well, I want to go out of the ones I can, because everyone knows like, oh, it's military kind of, or like expedition type, that you need to be
a scientist.
Yeah, because I don't know why is it too.
Dude, imagine like this is where my brain
Intense
takes me.
terrain.
Like, okay, so
Dude, fucking penguins are in business down there, dude.
I listened to, I don't remember which book it was. I feel terrible about that, but of an ancient. Oh, it was, what the fuck was it? The one where he talks about our ancestors being like actually like super smart. They all got wiped out by a meteorite.
Oh, Graham Hancock.
yeah.
The Fingerprints of God.
Yeah. So like, let's say that civilization does exist, and it's just frozen under miles of ice down south. And in the 50s, they found it. Like, they found their frozen cities of people, of our ancestors from like 60,000 years ago or whatever. Like, an ancient technology is frozen. Maybe that's why our technology boosts, like, where everyone's like, dude, it's so weird how now we have microchips and we have like all this crazy shit, and it boomed over a year basically in like the 70s.
Like a decade.
Yeah, but seriously though, like if you think about how many years were we fighting with swords and, murdering each other in shitholes, and then now people have cell phones and laptops, and that all boomed within 30 years.
Yeah, dude. No, duh. Come on.
After
I would have invented that shit if I didn't be using a cell phone by now. You guys would be using a cell phone
after
by now.
the supposed fucking Roswell crash. What if that Roswell crash was like some sort of technology that they found down in
Roswell is
Antarctica?
already confirmed. It was a Russian spy ship crashed, and they used the conspiracy.
That's what they want you to
theorists
know. See,
to run
you're
with
believing it. You're believing that shit.
Because our country is frail, and so like they were like they
It
snuck
was
in here,
converted
they got
technology from our ancient ancestors that they found south in Antarctica. No.
Does it sound like his last name?
And now imagine they found that shit, and all the countries agreed, like, hey, look, we're all allowed to take technology from here as long as the people don't find out. Because if people find out, like, imagine all the religions of the world finding out that there was people here 60,000 years ago who had flying cars or whatever the fuck they have
They're
down
probably
there.
the ones
Jetsons.
stopping it, dude. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah, we don't want people
Can't be
figuring this out.
having this.
Whoa.
But imagine if that leaked and people found out about it. How much fucking anarchy would erupt?
How many lunatics
Well, I was
would be
watching a-
activated?
Ooh, that'd be interesting. They say the
Exactly.
code word, also
Yep.
everything goes. But I was watching a crazy Nazi a thing on Nazis. Some guy was like, went to Germany to
The Nazis tried to go down there.
Dude, supposedly the Nazis like
Nazis
had
did.
a bunch of these like crazy underground tunnels that took them to some crazy underground places,
Oh yeah.
and they had all these entrances. And when they were trying to do, because they thought they could go like they like dig to China. That's what they thought, and so they went through like all these areas, and they used like explosions, radiation was totally all throughout the whole thing because they used different forms of it to like get down in there. And literally, like, this guy just started digging at some old gun range. It was supposed to be a shooting range for him and stuff, but he always had a hunch by the way it was designed. And he like literally like, cleared out the whole valley of it and made a huge like canyon area and like went to this area. And the guy's like, "Wait, this is it?" And he's like, it was all full of dirt right here. And he's like, "You thought there was something here?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like pulling where all the stuff was, so it's kind of all cleared out. Walks up to it, and there's basically like an area. All of a sudden, there's like stairs that go run down into like what is like some underground base, and there's like there's like equipment, Nazi equipment, all this stuff that's like right there at the entrance. And he had a cease and desist order, like if he uses one more shovel, that like he'll be persecuted to death and things like that, and like he cannot go in there. But
Why would you tell anyone?
that's the thing. I was like,
I wouldn't tell anybody. If I
Oh
found
my
something like that, I'd
God.
keep digging.
And so like that's it. They can't like do any more. And so they went into like some other little caves where they were going down, but the radiation started getting really, really high because they had like further down caves that they were using that they used to blow it. But he's got like this thing that's basically like the entrance of cement. It's like filled in, it's like actual stairs. Like it's not like like chiseled away. It's like actual, like they had just been built. They just been barely like covered up, and he can't go any like further and things like that. And so it could be this,
Did you ever? I know there was this weird theory that was going around, but it was, what if the Nazis were the good guys?
I did hear about that.
Did you ever hear that? Where they
For
were
how long until like they seem like
No. It was, what if? Okay, so who's history written by?
the winners.
Yeah. So now let's say they were the good guys.
Sound like sore losers to me.
Yeah,
Guys.
because they weren't the ones that written the history books. But what if they were onto something?
exterminate
Like what if
thousands and thousands of
what if they weren't people? What if they were
Jews.
Hey, dude, that's a theory, man.
He's like they're freaking shapeshifting lizards from the freaking
They could be.
Centauri 7.
Dude, one of the fucking rules of the war was that they would get their own land taken away by the winning powers, which is
what
the
I was-
Allied force. And the Allied force went into another country and was like, you know what, motherfuckers? We promised these other guys this, so you're sorry.
Yeah, but I always skeptical with World War II when they're like, because a lot of stuff happened back then when the World War II, Nazis and these like, and then at the time all this crazy stuff was happening, and they're like, man, like they knew a lot, they found out a lot back then and stuff. I mean,
Dude,
I guess
nobody-
maybe we flipped over, but dude, even think about that now, like that someone who's living in the 40s and stuff. Dude, they're so disconnected at that point. They'd be like dumb motherfuckers,
In a sense, but nobody actually talks about the crazy shit that the Nazis were doing. Like the bunker you were saying. Like, why would they build a bunker to go to the other side of the planet? Or to see how deep they can dig? Or why would they send out, battalions of soldiers to look for, ancient biblical stuff like the Holy Grail or the fucking Lost Ark or something. Why would they be sending soldiers to do that instead of conquering? Like,
well, they just tried. Like, because I remember they sent rockets in the air too. Because at one point they thought it was a mirrored image. They thought that they were inside of a cone. They're like, there's the way that it, if anything, it would be a reverse globe. So they shot missiles actually out into space, thinking that it was gonna go back around and like actually hit. But it just was like.
I feel like, oh, fuck.
Okay, well, I guess not.
Yeah, but
they tried it.
You reminded me of a story that I was listening to on a podcast. It's the Nazi gold train. Did you guys hear about that? Mm-mm. Supposedly, when all the shit was going bad for him, Hitler just said, load up this fucking train with as much gold and like artworks and all sorts of shit they stole from everybody else. The train was going, and they knew that they weren't going to be able to like save it, so they just destroyed the tunnel that it was in. And it's supposedly still out there, and this guy thinks he knows where it is. It's like under 60 yards of dirt or some shit. And he's like, he mapped it out with satellites and whatnot, and he's like, it's in there, it's in there. It's in Poland somewhere. But it seems pretty crazy, dude. Like, if you find something like that, why would you tell everyone? I'd be like, fuck it, I'm going to borrow a fucking...
Rent an excavator and just go to town.
Go for it.
Think about you lose your cell phone, you're like, where the fuck is it? Where the fuck did I put my phone? Where the fuck... Then you look down, it's like just sitting on the table. What? And you're like, why didn't I see that shit? Mm-hmm. Like, that's basically how something could be. You could be like,
oh yeah, dude.
It was like the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance. You know, they have like all the supposed gold and stuff they had stolen. And I seen some things just barely where like some guys did some facial recognitions on some things, and they had a photo that was not even older. It was an older photo, but newer time from when supposedly he was dead, from like being down south. Yeah. And it was him working on a railroad in Utah, a different part in Utah, in a small town with like it was people, and it matched it. It was matched.
It was Butch Cassidy?
Both of them matched, and they're like people were saying like this is basically him. And they're like, no, why would he be down here? Blah blah. Why wouldn't anyone know about this? But I was thinking about it. I'm like, damn, you get a small town of 30 people, you know.
No one's gonna write you out.
Yeah, especially if you bring the gold to them or say it's hidden somewhere else. But I'm like. Dude, especially back then, like things like you could easily get away with quite a bit of stuff.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, you might get caught, but at the same, like you can get away with so much. Like even most of those crimes and stuff, dude. If you just had a mustache, and they just drew a picture of some guy with a dark hat and mustache, shave your mustache. You're just, I bet you that no one will ever think you look.
Just give
you look like the picture of that poster. I'm like, you're retarded.
You look like that fella in the poster.
No, you do.
It's like some weathered photo that's been like floating there for like 3 days.
But I think someone who knew you, like let's say like a ranger who was chasing you, would know who you looked like.
For how long? How long would he chase you, you know? Eventually, you lose those 5 stars on Grand Theft Auto. They stop looking for you, man.
No way, dude. Dude, that's your job. That's your honor. Like, if I was like, Brian, you are now a deputy of Western Utah. And I got this guy, Anderson, that I need you to track down and kill. And I give you a couple pictures of him, and you end up finding him, and you see him a couple times. You're going to know what he looks like, even if he shaves his beard. You're going to be like, them dirty eyes I seen back in West Texas, you son of a bitch.
Let's say the same beard. Guy, when he was maybe 8 years old, 6 years old, a formidable age, was out in the West, and he ended up with his pa, and they ended up getting in a sticky situation with some bad bandits, but a guy came in and swooped in and helped him out. His pack of guys took out the other pack of guys, protected him, protected the town. His name was Butch Cassidy. And he's like, so he had an affinity for him when he grew up, and then next thing you know, he was like, this guy's not so bad. And so even though he was a lawman, he never wanted to take him down because he knew that he was a good guy. Like, you could have some weird, I don't know, I feel like someone like could easily be going to hiding, go into hiding.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
I've been getting
sorry, man. I had my knee under that.
I've fucking started listening to some of that older music from those times. They're called story songs.
I like when they
and dude, like those go deep. Like those are actually like really well written like songs. Like they're short. They're not like 10 or 20 minutes like they are now. They're like fucking 4-minute long songs, if even less. But there's a huge story into them. Like they're all packed into a story. And most of the time, like it's weird to think about people like 80 years ago that they actually thought like we do. But they go into depth with these stories. Like, you're sitting there listening to it, and the guy's singing about some dude coming into his town, like, with fire in his eyes, and he's looking for the deputy in the town because he wants to kill him. And the guy singing the song is the deputy, but he's not afraid, so he's going to kill this. So he's going to fight this guy. Then they meet out in the street the next morning, and he ends up killing the dude. And the whole town's, like, cheering and laughing, but the deputy's got, like, this sorrow in his heart because the guy he just killed was his younger brother who he taught to shoot. And it's like, but at the end of the song, like, you're sitting there listening to this whole thing, you're like, oh, where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? And then at the end, it's like, dude, you just killed his own brother. And at the end of the song, the whole thing is about, like, how his mom's going to feel knowing that one of her sons killed the other one. So it's like, I've been listening to a lot of those ones, and now his music's garbage, dude.
A lot of that stuff, if you find some good ones, it's free because the older stuff is, like, back in the public domain. But then with a bunch of, like, different corporations and stuff lobbying against that, like, they've moved it closer. So, like, it was actually Walt Disney and a bunch of those things, because after so many years, it becomes a public domain where you can borrow its likeness and use it because it's became iconic, you know, type of thing. So you can use
Mickey
it.
Mouse.
Yeah, so now he should be in it. The old Mickey Mouse should be in it, but they did a thing where they've extended it so no one can even use it because they're still making money off that, and they want no one else to make money off it. So, like, even a Family Guy, they have to have a weird version of it instead of be able to make a good joke on it, you know?
So how old does a song have to be? What do you mean free? Like, I can
It was
go
like
online and download it?
1920 so far, I think, is back, yeah. So they have, like, songs back in the day, like, of songs you might even know. You can go to the public domain stuff. But there's one song on there I was listening to a few, and it was called Wet My Wiener.
Wipe my wiener?
Wet My Wiener.
Wet my wiener?
It's like, wet my wiener. Come on now, wet my wiener. Dude, they made some crazy-ass songs back in the day. Everyone was, like, just singing tunes, you know? And, like, but... I want to say, I don't even know. I want to say like 100 years or maybe like 80 years.
What? That is absurd.
You have to check it out. The public domain's a really interesting thing too. There's a
What do you mean by public?
Adam Ruins Everything. There's a really good episode on that one. Oh shit.
What do you mean public domain? Like, it's a website?
No, it's like a thing where a lot of stuff becomes like, after it's been LLC or copyrighted and things like that.
Becomes free.
Yeah, because it's been used
How do you
for
get
so
there?
long. Being an iconic thing that's, or like it's been...
No. How would I get there to look at the stuff?
You can just type it in public domain. You can go to like free domain music, public domain music. And
Wet my wiener. We're going to have to answer that. You know that, right?
we
Somewhere
can listen
in
to
there.
that. It's free public domain.
You have to put it in there.
Oh man, but like they have so many different stuff, and a lot of the older like just tunes, you know, like and so you can use all that stuff for free and have no issues and stuff, and kind of to like continue the creative flow, you know, like, hey, I can take this one thing that is now the peanut butter, and I can take this thing right here from the older domain that's the jelly, and then I can take these two pieces of bread and I've created peanut butter jelly, you know, those type of things. And so but now they've stopped that kind of thing, so it's kind of been pushed back. So instead of being able to like, I can take Mickey and I can take this, whatever, and take it into this, people are like, oh, I just got Mickey. But you can't ever like, and so instead of letting it like kind of become like a, I guess, history thing, it's just what we have now, you know. And so like a lot of it, what seems public domain is really, really old, but it's only because it's been pushed back, you know. Because technically, like the old Walt Disney, all that stuff should be in there in the 50s, all that stuff. But no, just the corporations, dude. It's freaking doesn't matter what it. Like whoever has money like if the leader of whatever, I'm arguing against you about this, I'll take you to court about this, whatever. Usually whoever has the most money is like, my opinion won. It's like
Yeah, that's a little absurd, I think. I hate the fact that stuff works like that. But yeah, dude, back to that whole fucking conspiracy thing is, I think there's a lot of shit going on this planet, or surface, or whatever you want to call it, sphere or cone, flatness, that is really strange and really weird. Like,
Of course there is, dude. They're not telling us everything.
yeah,
Why would they?
There's a lot of weird things. So like when guys like, you know, Hitler start doing some crazy shit, it's easy to paint him as a bad dude.
It's like if Trump, like,
I'm not saying he was a good guy, and I'm not saying I agree with what he was accused of doing, because none of us were there, so nobody really knows. But
I was there.
So I was there. I seen all of it. It was terrible.
It was like even with like I think it was like with Trump. It's like if you become president, there's a lot of things you start finding out. Like if that's the thing, like why am I wasting guys to go down here? What is this? But he might be like, what the heck, and start ousting things, which would be kind of nice. But one thing I heard about with like listening to a guy on a podcast talking about the CIA, and he's like it's really easy to keep things a conspiracy because like you get a group of like 10 people, and that's their mission type of thing. Like this is our thing. Like and they do whatever they can to like try and kind of better that thing, and so they're always like getting information, doing tests, studies, all this stuff. But they only tell the 10 people, even to the point where a lot of them will die off and do whatever and things like that, and then they'll never go further on or use any of that stuff, and then it just like closes. And so they have all these like empty things where people aren't really doing it anymore, but they're like only really prideful, and so it's only them in on it, so only us 10 can know until it's solved. So
like they pick a conspiracy, like where's the gold train of Hitler, and they'll look for it.
Yeah, or if your mission is to search extraterrestrials, so like say it was X-Files,
it's like Mulder
and Scully, and then their team that talks to them and stuff too. Those 10 people, they only say, imagine that's it. Like that's it. Like it actually happens, but that's it. Like not even the president, no one knows about it. No one does anything because they're secret. They want this their thing. Because technically it's like you have to prove that there is this, and they could technically prove it through all these different things, but
they have these 10 people
I
doing
want,
it.
like, I need solid this, I need solid that,
There's actually an organization online that deals with all the UFO sightings and all that shit. And you can get you can be part of their team. I heard it on a couple podcasts, different ones. But it's pretty weird. They have like a whole organization, dude, like of 25,000 people or something like that. And they're just sharing information, trying to find the real truth.
Yeah, because right now,
they're out there.
I feel like we don't see them as much now with all the cell phones and shit.
What, Nazis?
Those or even like alien sightings or anything.
Yeah, we've seen more Nazis than we have aliens in the past few months.
Well,
damn, yeah, I know how all the ones that coming out of the woodworks. Politics, I swear, dude. I feel like a lot of the Nazis are like do it for attention, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, these kids are so annoying. Like, I'm just tired of people in the news. Like, they're so far on one side or so far on the other side. I'm just like, dude, you know how no one gives a fuck like about any of you, and no one cares about anyone but themselves. Like,
if you could spend 10 days with 10 different people from any time in history and understand their language, would Hitler be one of them?
If maybe he's randomly picked, maybe.
No, like you had to pick them.
Oh, would you stay with him? And
yeah, like
partly too. I hear like with the Hitler thing, like he was like back when he was like always like, had colds and do things like for going on for energy boosters and stuff, for going on for speaking and things like that. They'd give him like heroin and stuff because that was the original intent for it.
I think that's another thing of the winners writing the history books.
Oh, see, well, they're saying, like, so, like, well, a lot of times when he'd freak out, like, he was, like, on something, and so he had that chance.
Yeah, on life, dude. He was high on life.
On death. He was high on death.
That's what he was doing, dude. Mm-hmm. A lot of freaking gypsies are, unfortunately,
gypsy tears?
Jewish. So he crushed them up inside of a little tiny thing, and you got all the juice he could out of them. Like a grape.
Brutal.
Put them into beard oil, and that's where you can find bricks.
Badass.
BrickAnderson.com.
What is it called?
Banff.
What's their Reich? It was like the Wiffen French. Waffenhausen breed oil. Come on down, put it in your beard.
What's funny how that goes? Technically, right now, what are they? Deutschland? We're like, nah, they're Germany.
No.
Yeah.
We're just like
everywhere else, they're known as Deutschlander. But it's
all
up here.
their cars, the emblems, everything. Please rename it. No.
Yeah, that's not a Volkswagen, dude. That's a VW, bro.
We got against Volkswagen, dude.
I have nothing I have on a Volkswagen. But
their parts suck.
Parts suck, yeah.
Trying to get them.
Interchangeable parts. I don't know. I feel like even with like conspiracy stuff like that, I normally don't believe it till I see it, just because I think like, people's imaginations can run wild. I just know like it's possible and shit. But
yeah, you can make up something right now. Make something up right now. Let's put it out there.
Let's do it.
The newest conspiracy. Brick, let's see what you got.
Come on.
Conspiracy. That we're now actually breathing air. I think that's air you're breathing right now.
Did you fart in the room, you son of a bitch?
Fart in the room. This is just a tactic that they can use. It's a way for like your body, you know, the same way you're sitting in a plane, maybe something's going on, you need a little help. You hit this flight attendant thing, they can come to your thing, and there's like, slow down, get a fresh breath of air. Like, they can send you fresh data signals right to you right now. They know that that's a program that is in self-processing mode where it needs to self-upgrade. They send you a little thing.
Who's they?
The robots.
Our overlords?
Yeah. It's actually like a more giant version of just a kid's computer. We're running in a simulation.
Sounds reasonable.
It's like a 6-year-old's. Or maybe even, I don't know, 7.
How about you, Brian? What kind of conspiracy you got for us?
If you step in dog shit, it's not really dog shit.
What is it?
Tracking devices from the CIA.
Wow. So they've got them everywhere like landmines.
Yep.
Just to track everybody. What happens if I step in 2 pieces of dog shit in the same stride?
It might be the FBI and the CIA.
Oh, those.
I think you should be more worried about like once you ingest it. Because every time when you see shit, normally I see you eat it.
Just don't eat
and
it.
it sits in your belly for days.
Right. That's terrible.
It's a good way to destroy
That's on
the
your belly
planted
more than
device.
your shoes.
All right. You guys want to hear my conspiracy?
No.
Let's hear it.
Okay. We are actually not on the surface. We're actually underneath. And the water is the actual surface. So if we break the tension of the water, we're actually going up. You know what I'm saying? So we're actually in the underworld while the fish are in the up world.
All right, I see it.
So like imagine if we flip the world around.
Or inside out.
Inside out. And now fish, we're actually in the actual world. And we are the fish.
Or we are maybe another form of fish, because you ever see like time lapses of a lot of time cloud movements and stuff of storms. They kind of just wave on by, and a lot of times they look like you're like underneath the water seeing a wave.
We are, dude. We are.
So even the atmosphere even does similar movements to what a wave does compared to like.
Well, it's because
where is it moving?
all
Is it going that way? And it's
all
kinda
this that
like
we're
doing
breathing
this
in is
shit.
actual like molecules. Like this isn't empty space. This is actually something here. That's why if you move your arms
I think
around,
that's air you're breathing now.
that's why when you move your arms
conspiracy is
around,
back.
you can feel the air going between your fingertips, just like you can feel water when you move your hand in the water.
So we are in air water.
Bro, if you like
we're in
totally
air
move
water.
your hand, dude.
Yeah.
Right there. That's
Yep.
the Higgs boson.
Do you feel that?
Right.
Quit splashing air water on me, dude.
Yeah, you're getting him aired.
Fucking, you're getting me air wet dry.
Aerating on my face, dude.
You're aerating me over here.
Air raids. Back in the air raid. That'd be the horrible, dude, if you're just like back in the day, you had to black out your windows like that, yeah. See, I'd love to like kind of like, I think that'd be such a badass thing to do.
To hear?
Well, I want to start like
Bomb people?
Yeah, yes, similar.
Badass thing to do. Dodge flak.
Stay with me on this one.
Okay.
But I wanted to do like tours where you come to Utah and we take you up and go like do a hike in, do some photo things. You know, like people come into town, they have a few days, be like, hey, let me show you Utah, do those kind of things. Yeah, because we did that with the zip line. Hey, let me show you the tour here. You know, blah blah. But do that with like maybe on an island or do it at an area. What was an old area? And do like a Silent Hill thing. You know, they do like the
Murder them?
Well, it's like lock games and shit, you know. Go there and all of a sudden it's like, all right, you know, so it's basically like this. You got to figure out how you get through, figure out what's going on, whatever scenario we have for you. You got to figure out what's going on, why you're here, what's happening. You know, all right, start off, all right, you know, and it's like foggy.
Would you tell him about it?
Only a little bit, but I'd like to like kind of do
Yeah.
it too, like where you because like in the movies sometimes, especially like Resident Evil or something, they're like they got amnesia. They're like, what the fuck, you know, like
What's going on?
So it's like those
you're gonna
maze
have to-
games. You're like, is there keys here
Yeah.
and shit? It's like
So we drug someone
Bill
and then we put them in a
Cosby then.
room.
You put him.
And then we'd be like, we want to play a little game. We want to play
first
a
you
game.
make them sign a waiver. You'd be like, so you don't, if you get hurt, you're not gonna come back. And then you just then you start sending them off.
Then we drop bombs on them.
Yeah, freaking dude. Or you just do like, because I remember that in like Silent Hill. She's like, listen, what the hell? And it's like getting her closer, and it was ended up like being an old Fallout for like it was a military base. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that'd be like a creepy ass thing if you go to old military base, because you don't know what you could have like in every room a different like test subject, you know, or like basically like an asylum type stuff.
Yeah, that brings back like a couple YouTube videos I was watching on people actually exploring those old Nazi bunkers where they like go down into the ground. And the guy's like sitting there recording it, and he's like, "Yeah, this was like a locker room. This was their lunch mess." And then they'd be going, and it gets like the only camera or the only light they have is the light on the camera and the flashlight like his friend's carrying. So they're like sitting there exploring it, and it feels like there's still people there because it's super creepy once you get far enough down, and you're not supposed to go in those because you could never come back out. Not by like, I'm not saying like some ghost or something will murder you, but you could get lost.
Like a mine or something.
Either a cave in or you get lost, you know, just you take a wrong turn, you walk down, you think you're walking 15 feet, but you end up walking half a mile or whatever, and you take a couple extra turns, and the next thing you know, you're lost, and you're in a barracks room, and you don't know where the fuck you're supposed to go. Then you end up dying. Kind of like that one girl in the mines under Italy, I think it is, where they have the mines that go forever.
Oh, that's
France.
France?
Mm-hmm. Under Paris.
Yeah.
Paris.
The catacombs. You just walk in there and you keep walking until you die in the dark. Like, how creepy would that be?
Well, dude, I was watching, actually it was like a vlog of like Cowboy Cerrone. Of, they do like that spelunking and shit, and they went down to a cave and they were spelunking in like a pretty popular cave, and they're just like had headlamps and were like crawling through the cave. They don't get like getting lost and shit, and they're like sliding through things like, what the fuck, dude? Like, where the fuck do we go? And they're like sliding through them, and they ended up like getting out way, way down because they had a bunch of different ways to get in and out of there. But like they ended up like, oh my god, you know. And I remember listening to that one. I'm not sure if it was Radiolab or if it was The More You Know or something. They said like it was somewhere like between 1 in 5 or 1 in 10, but a good chance that it was a high probability that if you were to go into any type of cave or little crawling or something you could fit in and you had to crawl for a while, it was uncomfortable, and then it opened up to something, chances are you'd be the first person to have done that since the last person that have left. So if someone were to scratch hieroglyphics or someone were to stash gold and you were to run out and then go back in, even in a land or in a mine, if someone were to collapse it and you were to leave, and they were to leave and you were to come back into that mine, there's a good chance that you are one of the first person to have seen that. That's why like spelunking, like in the last like 5 years, has become really, really popular because people go in there, like kind of raid them and stuff. And a lot of the caves and shit, they'll go in and they'll go in them, and no one's been there for years,
hundreds of years.
That's why you always hear like, oh, they toss their body down a mine shaft, you know, because a lot of times like no one will ever go in there, ever. Even a lot of people, so many people will probably go right up to the hole of those, like where Elizabeth Smart is, probably freaking, you know. Not Elizabeth Smart. Who's that other one? Susan Powell. Mm-hmm. She'd be like looking over there. Oh man, look at that mine shaft. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. Like,
yeah, let's leave.
Fucked up.
Someone that like maybe I don't even know. At the max, 5 people a year even see the entrance of something out in the woods. You know, especially in an area that's not common. Yeah. You know, why would I go to? It's not Yellowstone or nothing. You know, why would you go out there? It's like, dude. Let alone actually explore it and like harness down there. You know, headlamps, fucking. You need, like, I don't even know. I'd take a gun, to be honest.
I would, too.
How loud would that fucking be, dude?
Really loud. Your eardrums
if you
might
just
actually
fucking
burst.
shot once. I've always thought about that. You shoot once,
loud.
that place is going to cave in.
No way, dude.
It's going to fucking cave in, dude.
Dude,
you have to bring a crossbow, dude.
I don't know how I got to this, but I was viewing a couple, like, you know when you're on YouTube, you just kind of go down the rabbit hole and you're just going. Yeah. So I don't even know what I was doing. I was, like, watching, like, people demonstrate like flashlights or cameras or whatever, and I just kept going down this rabbit hole, and I ended up getting to this one guy's channel where he buys different flashlights and different camera gear, and he lives like near an area that has old mines, and he goes into at night and explores the mines with these cameras or flashlights that he buys, like to show you like, oh, this flashlight can reach, you know, this far, and it illuminates this much, this camera is this good in the dark. And he usually does it by himself, and he's sitting there going through this cave, and he hears like a bat noise, like something squeaking off in the distance. So he's like, oh, that's one thing you got to worry about. He's like, there's rattlesnakes and bats and like badgers sometimes get in these caves, and he's like, even mountain lions. He's like, so you got to be really careful when you're going down here. And he's sitting there explaining like an old mine chute. Like they had these like, they kind of look like ladders, but they go from one tunnel to the other where they could like slide rocks and shit down. And he's like sitting there explaining it, and then he goes, hello? Did I just hear someone? And like he's sitting there quiet, and then you hear someone like far down in the cave, way down in the cave. Like, because he was like maybe like 30, 40 feet into the cave, and he tilts his camera down like way fucking far down, and you could barely see the distance down there. Like the light doesn't even reach all the way, and he's like super quiet, and then you hear someone or something whisper to him, be like, get out. And he's like, all right, you know what? I've been in these caves hundreds of times, and I've never fucking heard that shit. And it sounded like it came from like the walls, but it was like he tilts the camera down and the light like down towards the mine shaft, so you can't see anything but like darkness. And he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." And then he goes, "Maybe it was just my mind like playing tricks on me." But he like rewinded it, and dude, it's completely pitch black in there. Like the like he aims the light down like this hallway of a cave, and the light doesn't reach all the way down. It kind of like bouncing off rocks and shit, and it gets dark. And that voice came from down there.
Dude.
It was super creepy.
Oh, people should know where this came from, dude. Remember Nikola Tesla, how he originally had the idea of sending electronic waves through all kinds of things. One of them was even through the ground, through dirt. Dirt is a connector. Or,
Conductor?
But then, conductor. And so then all of a sudden, he ended up going crazy and dying, and all of a sudden everyone buying all of his patents and stuff. Dude, you were just hearing basically simulated recordings of a self-defense mechanism that was played through that so that no one would go and explore the lost city of El Dorado, yeah. Mm. Dude, the similar is at your Antarctica base. We got underground, but sonar protected.
I'm telling you, dude, there's shit down there. There's aliens down there.
Bill Gates got chips, and him and his kids got chips in their fucking shoulders that they can, like, when they walk into a room, it'll acclimatize to their room and change the music to the song that they were listening to in each room. All the way until if they walk their asses out on the fucking dock, jump in the water. They has like underwater speakers with a vibration. They'll hear the bass of the song, and they can actually like still hear the music. Like
then it gets chopped and screwed if they're both in the same room.
Yeah,
it's like the EMP goes off.
Then unless they go in that one room, that's the love room. Then you can't stop with the tracks playing. It's like
you and me, baby, ain't nothing mammals now.
Yeah. Do it like they do on the Discovery Channel now.
All right, let's take a break.
There's a lot of stuff.
Alien spaceship break. Brought to you by
Liftoff. Banff Beard Oil. Hey, that worked out pretty well, actually.